Hello, Libra. How is everyone today? I hope that you are really doing well. And we got a lot of great messages to talk about today. And it's been a very good couple of sessions here. Virgo reading was really great, and there's some great energy coming through for you as well. So let me introduce myself. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're a return viewer, it's so good to have all of you back today. And just a reminder for the new folks that I always devise these in such a way that you can use it for your sun sign, your rising, your moon, Venus, and actually you can look on behalf of other people in your life as well. The beginning portion, when I look at all the channeled information, is also something that anybody can stop in and watch because I'm clairvoyant and I pick up on the energy of whoever's in the room or whoever's going to watch later. But the second portion, it's okay, Apollo. The second portion is when I get into the Celtic Cross, and I really try to make that more focused towards the sign. And the Celtic Cross for me doesn't have to take on a single focus like love. I let it really focus on whatever part of your life you need to see information about. And then we'll look at an expanded forecast where we look at health, wealth, love, and destiny after that. I also will go into the soul path, which allows us to kind of chip away at any of the bigger questions that we might have with respect to what shows up here in this first part, basically blessings and blocks, if you will. And then we'll meditate. And then at the very end, something new that I've started to do is to put in a final question where you can psychically ask me something and I'll pick up a card and I'll read it both as a yes, no, but also as a chance to sort of dig a little bit deeper. And so hopefully enjoy that. Quick scheduling note. I would love for you to join me this weekend. I have a mid-month collective that I'll be doing on Sunday. The link is already on my main channel page. I didn't have it ready for today, but that's the date and time. It'll be Sunday at 9 a.m. And I'll have another one coming up at the end of the month around the 30th. And I have a bonus one as well. So make sure that if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, this is a great time to do that so that you don't miss out on any of these special readings. And by the way, subscribing is free. It's a weird word, I know, but it helps. And liking helps a lot as well. It's just lets people discover this channel a little bit more. And a lot of times, I know there's some confusion on what those things do, but that's basically it. Engagement is great. Before I get started, just a couple of quick notes, and then we're going to get into the reading. I pinned a note at the top. This is my website, nicholasashbaugh.com. If you ever want to find out past readings, future readings, or information on how to follow me, etc., it's all there. So at any point, if you want some more information, you can follow that pinned link in the corner. And also, if you want to show support while I'm doing this reading, there's a couple ways to do it. There's a feature called Super Chat and Super Stickers. You can click on this icon. And basically, I don't take direct questions, but I'm using one of the newer decks here that I got over the past few months here, the Ethereal Visions one. And I purchased it with the support that you guys give me through those little mini contributions. So that's one way to show support. If you watch it later on replay, there's an applaud button between the like and share buttons. And of course, just a simple way to show support, again, is to like, subscribe, and opt into notifications. If you've already subscribed, don't subscribe again. If you already liked, you don't have to like again. But if you haven't before, it helps a lot. All right. Maria is my moderator today. She'll be answering any high-level questions. So that's it for that. Let's get into your reading today. Oh, one last thing. This will help you for the next 6 to 8 weeks. I like to do readings in advance. I was talking to Virgo yesterday and saying, like, what good is it to go out the front door and then figure out if it's raining or not? So the way the forecasts work here is really to kind of like help you have a heads up so you can make smart decisions. For me, I'm all about empowerment and giving you the free will to do what you need to do. So I read it about a month to a month and a half in advance so that you have the benefit of looking at all of the May readings, which are already on my channel, and now looking ahead. So you can look between the two. And I put chapters in later so that you can easily get to the part of the reading that you would like. So give me about 12 hours from the time that this is produced, and then I will put something. I'll put all those chapter headings there. So let's get into the totem for you today. I always use a nature totem. And today what came to me in dreams and meditation was sunflower. And I'm going to show you some pictures I actually took a long time ago. I love photography, and this was back probably about 10 years ago or so. But this is a mammoth sunflower, one of those that grows almost as tall as humans. If you look really close, sunflowers are quite beautiful. They also don't open up just kind of like all at once. They almost kind of go around a clock. There's this very sort of clock-like energy as they open up. So really beautiful. And as you can see here too, there's all these little tiny florets inside the sunflower that actually make it up. So beautiful, beautiful flower. And I wanted to share some of my favorite pictures here. Also, here's a close-up detail of the florets. So sometimes we just look at the petals on the outside, but there's actually all these little flowers on the inside that eventually become the sunflower seeds. If you've ever grown one of these too, it's really cool because here it is fully opened. Has all these different colors. You wouldn't expect the green on the inside as well. When it's finally done, I have kind of a sadder picture as it starts to fade, but then it seeds up, and then all of the birds can actually come in and eat it. So this was something that I grew this mammoth one around 2012 or something. It's been a while, or 2009 actually, I think it was. So I wanted to share some pictures I took. I'll show you a couple of other ones here just randomly from the internet to remind you that they're not just regular. They can actually just there can be different colors. It doesn't have to just be a yellow one. You can have purple and all these different shades here. And again, just gorgeous because they're also great for bees and birds. The bees will pollinate it, the birds will eat the seeds. I love the kind of connection it has to the entire environment. One other thing, and we're going to look at this more in a second. This is actually a sunspot on the sun, and that's the photosphere, which is the surface. Look at how that kind of looks like a sunflower that I just showed you, right? We'll be talking about that in just a moment. So I wanted to show you a sunspot, this sort of granular photosphere. It's called a sunflower for a reason. It actually has a lot of similarities to the sun. All right, so I like to geek out a little bit on the history of sometimes the mythology of certain things. So we're going to go into the mythology of how it got its name and what it symbolizes. And then we're going to talk about some of the things that it can relate to in our lives. So obviously we're looking at the sunflower today. One thing that's really cool, again, if you've ever grown any variety in your garden, you probably noticed this. They exhibit this feature called heliotropism, fancy word, helio being the sun. Basically, young sunflowers will follow the sun through the sky, east to west, and the head of the sunflower kind of moves all day long. It's really cool. If you've ever, when I planted that, I thought, what's going on? I didn't know that it would do that. And it will continue doing that until it's mature. And I believe that then it just faces only in the east. But while it's young, it goes back and forth and back and forth. And what the Greeks were kind of inspired to create a myth about this. And there was a water nymph, whose name I'm not going to try to pronounce here, who fell in love with Apollo, not my dog, but Apollo, the sun god. And of course, it was unrequited love. What happened as she was, this is a lot, I'm just going to summarize it. So she gazed up at the sun, much like the sunflower, and would watch every day as Apollo moved across the sky, hoping that he would glance back, that would, somehow share his love with her. But it was unrequited, so she started to just get sad, not eat, not drink, and kind of waste away a little bit. And so the gods took pity on her and made her a flower. And that's what she does now, is she follows the sun back and forth. So that's why I talked about that, and that's why we talked about this. But there's a kind of a message here about unrequited love that's important, which is, you deserve to be happy, and you don't want to necessarily give your power away to someone else, especially if they're either unaware of it or don't care or are taking it but not giving back. So reciprocity is super important right now. Love yourself enough to not put yourself in that situation. And, as human beings, we don't have the sort of Greek gods looking down. Actually, I don't think I'd want the help of the gods and become a flower like that, because a lot of the things that they did, it wasn't very helpful. The message in this is to not kind of get infatuated with someone or something, not to put too much energy into something, because actually there's a good message there about manifestation. The law of detachment is key. If something is meant to kind of connect with you, it will. And if you put too much, if you shine too much of your light on that, then you will kind of wither, as she was. One of the other variations of the myth was that she just kind of withered away into a flower eventually. So whether the gods created it or she did it, it's an interesting sort of back history on the sunflower. There you go. Let's look a little bit more on some of the things that I was picking up on this. So first of all, if any of you are in a situation, it could be a job, it could be a love situation, relationship where you just feel like it's one-sided. This little myth that came through today was a reminder that you deserve more. You are the sun too. I showed you that little picture of all of those florets in the sunflower because, sometimes we just think it's one big thing, or even just as we look here at the heliotrope, not the heliotrope, but the surface here, the photosphere of the sun, all those little granules. The sun looks like a big blob, but it's not. It has all these little tiny, and within that, there's all kinds of little photons. So we're part of something bigger, and I think we forget that sometimes because we can get infatuated with someone else's light. And the message here is that you have just as much to offer. We're all multifaceted. So we're all part of something bigger. Don't lose a connection to that bigger thing that you're a part of. So let me break it down here. Follow your own light, your own North Star. Your path may differ from what others expect of you. Maybe your parents don't understand what you're doing. Maybe your partner doesn't understand what you're doing. But it feels like this is a month where you're supposed to get more aligned to that path, to that, because what is the sun but a star? And basically that's reminding you to get on that path. Strength, you want to really focus on strengthening the solar plexus because, of course, the sunflower, the sun, it's going to be associated with that area right around our navel. So you can work with just regular exercise. Yoga, Pilates are great as well, both as ways to sort of like strengthen that midsection. It's good too because this is going to allow you to channel more energy and to stand up for yourself, etc. So in relationships, the solar plexus can sometimes flare up when we are having problems with our mother, when we're having problems with our brother or sister or our lover or our partner, because those are really strong connections and we share the bond of sometimes, again, it's like love or blood, really, really strong connections. So you want to focus on clearing, cleaning, and finding some reciprocity in those core intimate relationships in your life. It doesn't have to just be love. In fact, sometimes it will be kind of adversarial stuff because someone could be trying to teach you a lesson about power. And this is your chance to stand up for yourself. We were focusing a little bit yesterday on the throat for Virgo. So for you, the solar plexus is just as important because you got to bring that power up through the throat. So it starts here and then you can speak your truth. Being Libra, you already have a capacity to communicate pretty well. So that's probably why the throat isn't coming up in this portion. And it feels like it's more about finding your fire and sharing it with the world. Let your inner light and joy shine through. Your charisma is a secret weapon, Libra. I know you know this. You have the capacity to blend in. You have the capacity to help other people, but you can also turn on your light. And this is really going to help you if you need to have a negotiation, a difficult conversation, or to make any sort of a deal or contract happen. You can be the one who, with a great smile, choice words, and really some enthusiasm that can make this happen, to finish and seal the deal. So don't be afraid to do that. You are a powerful negotiator. That's part of what happens with your sort of sign's energy. So use it to your advantage. This is a time to really get something finished so you can move on to the next step, okay? As I was doing some research on sunflower seeds and oil, what I found is that the oil in particular can help with anti-inflammatory things. So you want to focus on your joint and bone strength. One of the cards that would come to mind to me, there would be a couple actually. It could be either the 10 of Swords or the 5 of Pentacles. 10 of Swords being chronic pain in your body. 5 of Pentacles usually having to do with where a lot of us have issues as we get older, like our knees, our ankles, below, basically the lower extremities. So just be kind to that part of your body. Maybe explore working with a nutritionist and your doctor to figure out if there's natural supplements that can help you in addition to any sort of medication, or perhaps in lieu of any medication that you're using. You're going to have to work with a professional for that, but there might be some anti-inflammatory natural methods, including sunflower oil, that might be of benefit for you or to you. I actually even found out that they make, just like they do almond butter, I guess there's sunflower seed butter that might be good if you have like a nut allergy. So something to look into. I already showed you that picture of the sun where we were looking at the sunspot, and it kind of reminded me of the sunflower because it started to expose all of the little granules that are on the surface. But as I was looking at that, it's basically that we're part of something bigger. So for you, Libra, the message is to not underestimate your power or your contributions or your ability to inspire others Have you ever considered that others are looking up to you or leaning on you in ways that you don't every day sort of compute? So I'm trying to remind you of your power because you are so great at helping others. A lot of times Libra can end up in a supporting role, like writing speeches for people, editing books for people, administrating, like administrative assistant, helping someone else do something else. It's like the person behind the curtain. This month, I'd love you to come out and be the person that you can all, like, I feel like this, it's a similar message of what I was talking to Virgo and some other signs this month, but it feels like it's your time to reclaim and to sort of stand up. I want to see you as the Queen or the King of Swords, right? Or the Justice card. Let's pull your energy up there so people can look at you, respect you, see you, and you can do something spectacular. To that end, Nine of Pentacles energy came through when I was thinking about something really unique with this flower. It can self-pollinate. So basically, it can kind of bend inward, and if the bees and the birds aren't coming through and doing what they need to do, it can kind of make sure that the seeds get the pollination that they need, and it can reproduce. So I thought about this, and I'm like, it's self-sufficiency. And basically, that's Nine of Pentacles: independence, self-sufficiency, and also sustainability. So you can take care of yourself, and you can get that Nine of Pentacles energy, which is way more than enough. The only thing that ever happens sometimes with Nine of Pentacles that you need to be aware of is the difficulty in asking for help. So you want to make sure if there's something that you need, we're going to talk about this in a second, especially when it comes to mechanical or technical things that you might not know. You could get yourself in trouble if you try to do it all on your own. So this is a nice segue into the next piece. This came through dreams last night. I saw a washer dryer combination, and it was not installed correctly, and I didn't see any plumbing or electrical connections to it. And I thought, what are you doing? It looked like it was a mess. So if you have a difficult job and you don't have the expertise to do it, hire the person that has that expertise and ask for help, hire the help, outsource the help, whatever is needed. There are some things that you can and should do, and there's some things that you should not. What I saw is that you could get in over your head. Ultimately, if that's a phrase that you don't recognize, it just means that things can get out of hand and you can get overwhelmed. And if you don't speak up, it gets worse. I think we've all had a moment where this happens, where it's just sort of like, what's going on? You could flash back into some old movie scenes like I Love Lucy, where it's all the chocolate, or 9 to 5, where there was like these copy machines going crazy. You just need to ask for help before there's chocolate and copies everywhere. I'm sure there's some other examples, but those two popped into my head as I'm talking. So yeah, you need to sort of just be aware of, I'm not comfortable with this, or I need help, or you didn't give me the clear directions that I need to do it. So hire or ask or get someone in to cooperate and help and train you a little bit more. I know I've been thrown out in the just sort of like the wild before, where it's like, you haven't set me up for success. Bosses do this sometimes as a test for you. So what you could do is say, I am ready to take on any challenge you throw my way, but I'm not going to do it without a proper tool set here. And right now I'm trying to, kill this dragon with a screwdriver. It's not going to work. So make sure you have the proper tools for the job. And if you don't push back or say, hey, you can do it if you feel like you're comfortable with it, this seems unrealistic to me. Okay, enough said. I think you get the point. The next one was pretty specific, but I think it can kind of, there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of see how this would work for you. But I saw a family working together and arguing. But I also felt like this could relate to love at the workplace. It was intimacy mixing with work. So if you work with or for family, make sure that the roles are clear, especially if like you are a child and you own your business and you have a sibling, a parent, an uncle, an aunt, someone else working for you, and maybe they're older and there's issues. It's sort of like, yes, but this is my business. So you have to kind of, chain of command has to be clearly stated. Also, compensation. Don't short your family or your friends. Pay them 100% or more of what they're worth. So roles need to be defined, and you better pay. If you're not paying them, you're building bad karma, and you're probably going to burn some bridges with people that you love. It's not worth it. And I really don't think you should be mixing work and love right now. Sometimes you can't help but meet someone that you're interested in, but you're going to have to then navigate what happens after that. So work plus relationships equals tricky this month. So I want you to figure out what's important. And if you value the relationship more than this something. Maybe like it means that you just can't have family working for you, or you can't work for family, or if there's love at the workplace, you're going to have to choose between the job or the relationship, or you have to go to HR and figure out how to navigate it. I just saw some tricky situations there, and I want you to be aware of it. But the easiest thing here is communication and payment. So if someone that you love or know isn't paying you, or vice versa, let's clear that out as soon as possible. And I think you'll be okay. All right. There are many examples of family working great together. A lot of businesses include, parents and children. But sometimes if it's just a new thing where they're pulled in and you're not comfortable with the new dynamics, it can go astray. So be mindful of that. It won't work for everyone. But I think the one thing that will come through is payment. And we're going back to that reciprocity. So just as if you were the water nymph looking at the sun and not getting any love, same thing. If you're working really hard and not getting any sort of energy back, it's also not good. So we don't want anything that's unrequited. We don't want anything that is not reciprocated, that the scales are out of balance. And Libra, we don't work very well when the scales are out of balance. So this is a time to make sure that that's happening. Stand up for yourself and be justice if it's not, especially if you're the one getting shorted here. Okay. You are justice. So you can do that. Say what you need to say. Others are ready and waiting for you to speak up. This can take on so many different things, whether it's an announcement coming out or a difficult conversation where something's falling apart, like you need to break up, or you need to quit, or you need to have an intervention with someone. It feels like it's a conversation that's waiting and ready to kind of have its stage, but you're the one that has to set the stage to make it happen, right? Okay. If you're trying to remain anonymous, one thing that I'd like to remind you is that it's going to be a little tricky. I feel like people are going to be able to trace the source of whatever it is. So it would be stronger for you to just come out and say what it is that you need to say, like I just said. So rather than leaving an anonymous tip or feedback or criticism, just go straight to the person and say, hey, I'm having difficulty when you do this, or we need to talk about this because of XYZ. That's going to be so much better, and they're going to respect you more because you came straight to them rather than doing something roundabout or not signing your name. So just say who you are. One time I had a neighbor here where the dog was barking really loud, and I just left a kind note. I said, I'm actually concerned about the dogs. They've been barking all day. And I got a call back and they apologized. Everything was good. It was good that I left my name and number, and they said, I'm so sorry you had to reach out to me. I said, I was uncomfortable, but I wanted to let you know. It's better sometime to just sort of put it out there. And if you do it in a kind way, they're going to respect you. Now we don't have to kind of hide when I'm walking around the complex and everything. It's better just to say what you need to say sometimes. Okay. Cool. Finally, and this goes back to sort of the big theme of what the next 6 to 8 weeks are bringing in for you. What is the return on your energetic investment across the board? ROI, or return on investment, is something we often see with finance, but it's also very relevant for energy. So how much are you putting into something? How much are you getting back? It's not about necessarily keeping track, but when it's one way, right? When someone's taking too much, or when you're giving too much, or when it no longer feels fun, good, or right to do something. So be discerning as new decisions come through, new opportunities come through. Don't overexert yourself. Work smarter and delegate. The lesson in this card is the 7 of Wands. A lot of times when I see that, I will tell you, you're not working smart. You're working hard, but not intelligently. So work smarter, delegate. You're doing too much. And so I feel like if you can pull back a little bit, then you have that sun energy where you can shine. And the sun is what? A star. And the star is what? A way to really make an impact. And I want you to be able to do that, Libra, because this is your summer. And if it's southern hemisphere, then this is your autumn. This is your time to kind of stand out and do something really cool. I want you to, or winter rather, I want you over the next 3 months to be able to step into that next season and really, really shine. Okay. So let's stack up all of these messages here. And then I'm going to talk about the Celtic Cross here in just a moment. But as I'm doing this, the one thing that I'm going to review it right now. I want to say when it comes to how you are loving and working with others, make sure that it's not all give, that there's give and take. Focus on your body, making sure that any sort of joint pain is being dealt with. You are a star. Follow your own North Star, your own energy, and make sure that you're looking at that. You're part of something bigger. So don't underestimate your contribution. Sometimes it's easy for that to get swept under the rug. Ask for help when you need it. You're an expert at many things, but not everything. And when you're working with others, the exchange needs to be even. And if you need to say something, say it and own it as well. Okay, those are the big messages. We'll review all of that at the halfway point. But for now, I'm going to pull the camera down. We're going to look at the cards. And again, this can be used for sun, rising, and moon, Venus as well. And I also basically will read for anyone that's here today. So just stick around and let's see what the messages are for you. Okay. Self-improvement, I really think, is the big theme here. Personal growth, self-improvement. I read the sun often as ego and development and self. So let's see what else is coming through with respect to that. You've got some exciting stuff coming through here, Libra. Lots of change, lots of shifting. I can already see it. All right, we got some great stuff here. I saw someone say yikes in the comment. There's nothing to worry about right now. We have to interpret the cards. Placement is really important when you see cards, so don't worry so much about what it is, but more like where it is and how it connects with you. Let's begin with your catalyst. The catalyst is a way for you to stay connected to highest purpose, to stay out of trouble, and to really make the most of things, make some change happen, per the name. So we have here a representation of divine masculine, probably like emperor type energy. And it says, take charge with authority, which is what I was talking to you about as well. It's really time for you to stand up and stand out and not to be afraid of doing what you need to do here. So I love that. And I'm looking in the background and it looks like we see sort of like a ram in the background as well. So maybe some Aries energy here as well. But what I like about this is, if there's something you need to say or do, I feel like you are the one to do it. So for those of you that might be thinking about releasing something on your own, whether you're like an author, a musician, maybe an engineer, and you have some sort of a product or service or something like that, this is saying somehow you need to be in charge of distribution and production. This would also be like an executive producer or producer type role. I definitely want to see you at the table making decisions and signing that. He's holding an ankh, an Egyptian symbol for power. So this is your time to really be in charge and to own that power. The horns in a lot of pagan tradition are like the halo in what we would see with like Catholic icons and things. So it's just basically our antenna connecting to the divine. So you're definitely tuned in to what you need to do. You have the power to do it. Just take charge this month, okay? And we saw divine feminine coming through yesterday. Today we have divine masculine. There was a she-wolf card that I was pulling for the other sign. So reminder that the divine energies are available irrespective of which gender you identify as. So this month, when I look at divine masculine, it's about action, vocalization, movement, So there's no one or neither energy is better. This is just kind of illustrating that it's time to take some sort of an action and make a plan. Okay, so I like that. Let's take a look at your center card. The big opportunity for you as you're looking inward this month is to figure out, is what I'm doing enough? Am I feeling a sense of sort of like questioning or uncertainty because I'm either just bored or uncertain or jealous? I think what this is really a chance for you to do is to kind of recalibrate. Why am I doing what I'm doing? And am I sure that I don't want to be doing this, or am I sure that I want to be doing this? So just take stock in it. Four of Cups can be comparing yourself to someone else and wondering, why isn't this happening for me? Or maybe it can even be guilt over the fact that you're doing well and someone else isn't doing well. And really, you're missing something. You're missing something big. So look at the opportunities around you. Stop comparing yourself to others. Don't worry. Sometimes we're our own worst enemy, right? So don't get too far in your own head. Feel it out. Feel it here as well, because it should, in the gut level, in a very sort of instinctual level, it should just feel right. If it feels right, don't overthink it. All right. I think that could be your biggest thing that you want to try not to do this month, is to go too far down that rabbit hole of worry and think, well, how about this? And what about this? And why isn't this happening? And stop. Get back into doing what you do well, doing it even better than you normally do, and trusting that that magic sort of sauce is going to come together and attract what needs to happen for you, a new synchronicity, a new opportunity. And we have a wonderful one right on top of that. We have the King of Cups. So for some of you, this is love on the horizon. I only read love if I see it, and I see a potential here for that. So a nice water sign, or a really creative energy, kind energy coming through. As a partner card, I really like King of Cups because it's the divine masculine, but it also has the kindness and the empathy and the nurturing energy that you would see with like a Queen card. So it's really good. As an aspect of your personality, this is you being in control of your emotions. So I feel like you can do that because it's right there. This is also you honoring your creative side. For some of you, it could also be a Pisces, because we specifically see the little fish right there on his heart space. But for me, I read this not just in romantic sort of overtones, but I would read it as one of your keys to success this month is to not deny yourself your passion or your heart. If he could pick up that extra cup, then he could become this, is what I'm seeing. So don't hold back. If there's something you want or need to express, I think that this is the time to do it, right? Beautiful, beautiful King of Cups energy here too. Strong, forward-looking, great smile. I just feel like this is what you can be this month, Libra, is in control, passionate, and holding your own. We have a lot of strong energy. And again, if you identify as female, don't worry, you can access this too. The same way yesterday when I was looking at Virgo, I could access the she-wolf energy. We can all access this. So I'm just seeing everybody standing up really strong, really tall, like the mammoth sunflower that I was showing you a picture of earlier. All right. What do you need to do? Well, some of you are dealing with a little bit of stress, unhappiness, a need to sort of move on, right? So this is in the deep past. We have the Three of Swords, everyone's favorite. But with the Three of Swords, it's a reminder. I had a very special message yesterday for Virgo, which I'm going to carry over into yours, because I often do this with signs that follow, because there are messages that blend between the two. So I had a message, and I even put it in the headline for Virgo, about not feeling like you need to hide or cover up your scars or your mistakes or the things that you're not the most proud of, because all of those things were the building blocks so that you could be right here, right now, and being able to make the smart changes in your life. So those scars developed you and strengthened you. And if you think of like anyone that works, I had someone the other day that was on the farm and kind of like on the tractor or whatever. If you work and with your hands in construction or on the farm, you develop calluses so that you can protect yourself. And the calluses aren't something that you should hide. That is showing you that, hey, I'm strong enough that I can deal with more than other people. So we all have those calluses, and the Three of Swords is basically just a callus, a different way to read it. So you're stronger now, and yeah, you don't look the same or feel the same, but you're better for the experience. And if you can look at the Three of Swords that way, as a callus, as something that's the body, or a bruise or callus, the body healing itself and trying to show that I can get past this and you're going to be all right. Focus on heart health. Anytime I see the Three of Swords, the heart health can be sadness and recovering from sadness, the anxiety. It can also legitimately be issues with the blood or the circulatory system or pulmonary system. And if that's the case, turn off the reading and go to your doctor. But but for most of us, this has to do with stress and just eating and exercising well so that we can take care of our body. All right. It's in the deep past. It's not a presenting issue, but just make sure that you've integrated the lesson from that. We have a really cool card here in the recent past. So it's upside down, but I want to turn it upright. I love this card because it reminds me of the Archangel Azrael, which is death and transformation, and it's holding the Wheel of Fortune. Also, Zerachiel can be another death angel. But why is it cool that death would be holding the Wheel of Fortune? Because a massive change could be happening for the better, I would say. Because the Wheel of Fortune, to me, is always a good card. It is showing a new movement in your life, a new chapter in your life. It could be a new job. It could also just be this understanding that all of a sudden I'm ready for something bigger. And I love that we kind of see the equivalent of what you would normally see, like in the world card. Even we see all the different angels, all the different seasons in the background. So I definitely get a big shift for some of you. So the question for me is, why are you holding back? You either could go even further on your current path. Like it feels to me like you're editing a little bit, or maybe waiting for a moment to shine. And so Azrael's coming through and saying, no, this is the moment. Like, let's really do it. Let's do it now. And let's go bigger and brighter and weirder than you normally would. So a shift. If you've been stagnating, which would be death reversed, then this is coming through and saying you have to make the change now so that you don't stagnate anymore. This is your moment to shine in the sun. That's why we got, Apollo and the sunflower earlier. Not my dog, but the sun god. All right, so Libra, we have some really great stuff here. Now we have the block. So back when I did weeklies, I looked at blessings and blocks, and I've kind of moved that to the soul space now. But I see the block here, and we have the devil card in the crowning position. And the devil card can come through when we have a contract that is not good. Ultimately, when you look at the devil, traditional devil card, we don't see it on this one, but you would see two people chained together. And it's usually kind of like the shadow version of the Lover's card. So in traditional Rider-Waite-Smith, you have a man and a woman, you have an angel, you have the Garden of Eden or whatever. And it's basically showing paradise. And then in the devil card, you see the same two lovers, but they are chained together. They're not usually looking at each other. And instead of an angel, you have the devil. So what it's showing is that there's an entrapment or some sort of a conditional energy that's holding you back. So are you being limited either by thoughts or a contract? If so, it's time to release that thought or contract, because that's really what the devil is. It's not this little horned guy. He symbolizes something that is holding you back. So I usually view this, especially since we're not seeing the lovers, we're just looking at him. There's something that you agreed to or may agree to. You have time because you're reading this now and this is in the crowning position. So just don't do it. If it doesn't make sense, don't do it. I used an example yesterday of me just walking out of a doctor's office because a procedure didn't make sense. I'm like, this isn't what we talked about. That doesn't look good. I don't agree with you. Goodbye. And I'm going to get a second opinion somewhere else. So sometimes we have to do that because someone's not listening. So a devil is an energy sort of where the person isn't hearing you, they're not listening, or the contract's not fair. It's too restrictive. It's too one-sided. So push that back. Not today, El Diablo, not today. Okay? That's what I have to say about that card. So I feel like it's completely manageable. Some of you may have Capricorn in your chart, like I do. So if we look at the positive aspect of this, use your Capricorn energy to get you ahead in business and in life. There's something that you can use by being a little bit more practical than you normally would. The devil isn't always bad. In this particular instance, the goat that we would see in that would be the Capricorn energy. So I would say I have a rising in Capricorn. So in business, it's saying really lean on the practical side of things. If your Capricorn is in your moon, it's trying to understand, but not overdo it. I actually have a relative who we have like the flipped version of one another. So Taurus is my moon, but they have Capricorn in their moon, and it causes complications, let me tell you, because If you have Capricorn in your moon, no matter what your sun sign is, you tend to overanalyze and try to make sense of things. And it's like love and relationships don't always make sense. People don't always make sense. So my advice to you is if you're trying to make sense of someone who is erratic, stop. Put your time and energy somewhere else. So even though I'm reading for Libra, we've got Capricorn energy here. So wherever it is in your chart, especially if it's in your moon, be careful there. But if it's in your business side, lean into that, but make sure that you're getting the right amount. It's still a cautionary card the way it's presented. So use your head, okay? Two of Pentacles, balance. Something ironically that, again, as a fellow Libra, I understand this. You can lose your balance sometimes because of what you give to other people. So for all of you, what I like here is we have the little infinity symbol underneath there. You can create a better habit here in the future. So I want you to step into the feeling that you are of abundance. You're a being, a divine being that can tap into the energetic flow. We see her dancing. A lot of times you see this on a tightrope or, you know, some sort of balance here. So this is very rarely about money when I read it. It's like work-life balance. It can be, again, energetic exchange, the return on investment, which we talked about earlier. If it is money, it's not enough. Something's off a little bit. The other thing that it can represent is a big choice in front of you. I much prefer the Six of Pentacles when we're looking at choices because it tells me that you can do almost everything you want, just probably not in the time that you want. But with the Two of Pentacles, there's definitely a sacrifice that needs to be made to make this happen. So the devil energy here could be saying, I can do everything. No. The Two of Pentacles comes in to correct the devil and say, no, you're going to have to choose. You can do this now and that later, or you can do this and not that. So I feel like in front of you, you're presented with a trade-off. And it may be difficult to make that decision, but it's important to make it. And the sooner you make it, the better you're going to be. Okay? Hopefully that makes sense. We have Page of Cups here in your ego. You're definitely shining through when it comes to desirability in relationships and, again, contracts. I feel like you're very engaging this month, Libra. So it's a good time to put yourself out there. Even if you're not looking for love, it will bode well in business and friendships. And the fact that we have both this in your ego and then this kind of crossing the center, I definitely feel good about future relationship opportunities for you. I always save that for the expanded portion, so we'll read more into that in just a moment. But let's kind of look at it just as aspects of you. Pages give and receive information. So are you reading the symbols, by the way, that other people are giving you when it comes to how they feel? Because the Four of Cups is a little, they need glasses, short or far-sighted, I don't care. They're missing something that could be right in front of them or on the horizon. So I would say, look at the signs and symbols. There could be someone that is hinting like there's no tomorrow, that they're either very interested or they wish you would go away. Pay attention to nonverbal cues and pick up on someone that is interested, because you're a satellite this month and you can kind of turn your direction and find something else, okay? So you should have someone that wants to broadcast right back at you. We have in your environment a really great card, and this kind of helps ease the sense of fear that some of you may feel when we look at the Devil card and the Death card. We have positive change because in the environment you have the Six of Wands here. And the Six of Wands is reversed. So this is very Libra. This is a concern of what other people are thinking. So it's not unusual for Libra to also take roles like, you know, being a lawyer, being a public relations specialist, marketing, because you can tap into what people think. And sometimes you worry too much about it. So what I see with Six of Wands in reverse in the environment is that I see success on the horizon for you. I think you need to focus on just doing what needs to be done and trusting that if there's a little bit of fallout, you'll gain more than you lose. That was like the speaking up piece that I was talking about way back at the beginning when we were channeling things. So really focus on doing what's right for the express purpose of it being right, not so much on doing it because you feel like you're going to get the popularity or support or whatever of others. Because that's actually the surefire way for things to fail. If you've ever, sometimes we see this with like musicians or movies, sequels especially. What an artist or a writer or a movie sort of conglomerate will try to do is they try to repeat the same thing that made the first thing work, and they're just trying to make people happy. So sometimes like one artist has a certain hit and they try to make everything that hit. where if you look at really amazing artists like David Bowie or something, they just keep changing. They're a chameleon. So they're not afraid to say, that was me then, now I'm going to change my entire look and sound. And now I'm going to do it again, and I'm going to do it again. So change and do things because it's right and because it's part of the expression. And then you're going to keep finding probably a much more loyal following that way. Okay? Lead, don't follow. That's actually what I could have summarized it so much easier. Lead, don't follow. That's what Six of Wands reversed is. I'll remember that for the future. All right. Let's go ahead and look at opportunities around you. But one more thing here with the Six of Wands. For some of you, I don't want you to get lost in the shuffle. So I see many of you are surround yourself by successful people. That's good too. But if you're finding that there's no growth potential because there's so many successful people, get what you need and then move on. Because you may actually have an environment where there are way too many leaders, there are way too many smart people, and at some point you might have to find a sort of area where you can grow. Because if it's way too competitive or if it's way too top heavy, as the case is often with organizations, then you're going to have to make your own, which will help you continue to grow. It's not a cop-out. Sometimes there's just it's crowded at the top, right? All right, so that leads nicely into the next card, which is in opportunities, hopes, and fears. We have the death card and it's reversed. So death reversed is stagnation. You have a couple of these. So we have death kind of personified in two different cards in two different ways. Here's death and here's death again. Both of them are reversed. I think there's a chance to really turn things around. If you've been feeling like I don't have what I need to get to the next level, then it's time to make that change. You hold the key though, and that's what the angel's trying to show you here is you have what it takes. So don't feel like this is the end, it's a beginning. In the Lightseer's deck, the death card, also shrouded, is a window to another dimension or to another path. You just see like a new day within the death energy. So let's look at it that way rather than, like a skeleton or whatever, which can be scary. What I would say with this is it's just time. It's time to move on. There's an inevitable change happening on your horizon. So it's probably, there could be a little bit of loss, sacrifice, or some sort of a shift that has to happen that may require mourning for you. So sometimes when we move from one place to another, you really want to say goodbye. I remember when I moved across country from like the west to the east when I was a little kid, my mom made sure that we went to different places in the city that I was in to sort of say goodbye. It was a really smart thing, actually. So it felt cool because we were doing all these special activities and I felt like I got closure on that chapter. So get the closure that you need in order to move on and then embrace that. Some of you may have something going on. It could also just be like someone who's sick and you can kind of see what's in the future there. Plan, have the talk with them. Make sure that you're preparing for that as well, okay? All of these things are true or could be relevant to you. So just kind of like embrace change. I think that's the main thing that I would say here. We have a great card to end on for the main Celtic Cross. We're going to expand it here in a second. So we have the Ace of Wands, which is growth. Ace of Wands is really good for passing on a torch. So some of you might be ready to leave. And before you can do that, if it's like a business that you've made, maybe you want to find someone that you can sell it to. You'll get the money and you're passing on that torch. I definitely get that kind of energy when I'm looking at this ace card. The other thing here is to be open to trying something different because the ace was reversed. Someone could be giving you a perspective that feels alien, unusual, or even that you kind of have a knee-jerk reaction to. And this ace is saying, yeah, it's different, but don't discount it until you really, drink it in, take a sip of that, see if it makes sense. No matter what, I see growth as the outcome here, okay? So it's either gonna happen quickly if you allow it to, or it's gonna take a little bit longer, but it's still gonna happen. And I see success happening as well, but you're supposed to be taking the lead. Lead, don't follow. All right, let's expand the forecast. We're gonna look at health, wealth, love, and destiny. Let's begin with your health card. We have the first chakra, Archangel Michael, coming through. The card is reversed, but let's pull it up, right? So this has to do with how safe you feel in certain situations. The root chakra is really about security, grounding, safety. It can also affect some of the sexual organs as well. So some of you may be having some issues with reproduction, or usually I would go second chakra for urinary system, but still, it's still around the same area. So It's so important for you to feel secure, safe, and that you can express yourself. I think there's a little bit of overlap between this and the second. So are you in a situation where people make you feel like you can be yourself? If not, it's time to get into a place where that safety, that security, that confidence is coming in. And it does have to start at the root. And then I also want you to focus on the third. I would say first, second, third. Those three are really, really important. It's kind of interesting if you ever look at the colors. It's almost like an upside down traffic light minus the green light, which would be your heart. But if we kind of just jump to red, yellow, green, it would sort of be the first chakra, the solar plexus, which I focus on, and then the heart. So I think bringing those into balance this month is going to be important. Focus on the lower ones. As intuitives and light workers, we often kind of go like heart, throat, third eye, crown. But if the lower ones aren't working, it's kind of like a tree in a storm. It's going to topple over, if the wind blows too much. So really strengthen the lower ones so that you're going to be okay. This also has to do with the legs and the joints and everything below the waist, because that definitely is part of the root. So take care of the lower extremities as well, okay? Stand up for yourself, for sure. That's why Archangel Michael is here saying, yes, you can do what you need to. Ask a question, say no, push back. I picked cards this month where there's tons of angels here, which I kind of like in the expanded forecast. So lots of angelic energy coming through. But let's look one more time at health messages. Okay. Some of you just have a wake-up call because death is in the opportunity space, and it's reversed. So it's saying, make a change for the better, stop dragging your feet, start moving. So for some of you, it might just be about amping up physical activity, of course, with the blessing and the guidance of your health professionals, but it feels like movement is part of that. For others, again, maybe coming back from heartbreak or from sadness or depression, recalibrating to see how that callus or that scar is actually making you stronger. Overcoming addiction, overcoming temptation, overcoming self-defeatist or limiting thoughts, because the contract and it's not always about a piece of paper. It can be things that we're saying just to ourselves. You think it and speak it into reality. So start to think and speak positive things instead of thinking that you're less than or that things won't work out. And I think that's going to be really, really important. All right, let's see if there's anything else coming through for that. I think those are the main messages here. And again, the root chakra, like I said, you want to take care of anything that's going on, base of spine, reproductive organs, all of that. Get to the doctor if there's anything going on, okay? Again, there's a little bit of overlap, and I would say today, based on what I'm seeing, focus on the lower three, 1, 2, and 3. So basically everything up to your heart, you want to be focusing on getting the lower body really together, okay? Let's look at your wealth card. Got another angel here. It says connecting with music. And for those of you, this could be about harmony, just sort of like finding more harmony in your work situation, finding a place where it's more peaceful, where you can express yourself again. The card was reversed. So some of you just feel like it's discordant where you're at. It's sort of like discordant, meaning like it doesn't sound right. It doesn't mesh with you. There's something wrong. So if you feel that sort of constant abrasive energy or toxic energy, you have to find something that's more in harmony with you. Yesterday, we had a beautiful sort of yin and yang energy with that. And I feel like for you, the same thing needs to come through. There's still this sort of harmony. And you should be able to kind of march to the beat of your own drum, which is what I was talking about earlier. So, not everyone's going to get that. I mentioned, David Bowie's an example. I think when he first came out, people thought he was a loon, but later you can see that there was sort of like a genius energy that was going through all of that. So sometimes when you do something that makes sense, people they're not going to understand it. So go to a place where you're going to be welcomed and understood. Some other messages with wealth. I think for some of you, it's overdue. Change is overdue. So either you need to step up, step out, or move on in some way, shape, or form, because there's something limiting or restricting. Your main focus this month is not to limit yourself, Libra. Push out those solar beams, which we were seeing in the sunflower. Get that devil card out of there. It's there to just sort of remind you you're limiting yourself in some way, shape, or form. When I go into the soul path, after I do the review, I'm going to ask, I'll get clarifying cards on that. That's the whole purpose of the next section. So we'll drill in a little bit deeper to understand why that card came up where it came up. It's in the head space. When I read the Celtic Cross, my experience with it is this is in your head. So that's what you want to be focusing on, okay? Other things with wealth, there needs to be more reciprocity, more balance. You should be getting a little bit more. Again, you might be doing too much. There's something going on there where it feels like that's important. And again, I just feel like some of you may be in a place where it's top heavy or overpopulated with people that have the same skills. So it might be time to move on. Wealth can also indicate sort of like life purpose for those of you that are retired. So if you're retired, what I'm seeing here is it's time to change things up. Again, this is stagnation, the death card. So do something new. Do something that really just intrigues you. Who cares what kind of, contribution this has in your, you're not worried necessarily about making money or anything at this point, hopefully. So you could be instead thinking like, how can I do something that challenges me? Maybe you want to make money. Maybe if you need it, this is showing me do something you want to do for a change, because at this point in your life, hopefully that's an option for you. It should be engaging up here. And that's going to help you out. If you're job seeking, yes, this is a little tricky because of the devil card. Are you limiting your scope of what you could possibly do? Because this to me is like missing a new way you could market yourself. I had to kind of reimagine what I was going to do right around 9/11 after the economy tanked. There was a couple of moments where, we had one around 2001, we had another one around 2008, 2009. We just came through some challenges this past year. What you notice when these cyclical things happen every 9 years or so is that we have to work differently and think differently. So take your toolkit that you can do and think about reimagining it. What I'm doing now is a reimagining. There's no school for what I'm doing now. I just took all of my old skills and I thought of a different way that I could work. So you can do the same. I've done that every 7 to 10 years. It feels like I have to kind of like reimagine and try something new, and it's a lot of fun. So if you can start to think of it as a challenge, then go for it. And I think that'll help you out as well. All right, let's go to relationships, and we have definitely some stuff to look at here. So we see spiritual growth. This is good, but it's also a bit of a warning sign here. So for some of you, you're calling in a karmic relationship. Karmic relationships bring a lesson. Karma can be good baggage. It can also be challenging sort of stuff. So as you start to meet new people, which many of you may do because we have a lovely King of Cups here, there is something karmically sort of like connected with this person. And I think as I look at this with the devil card, we really want to make sure that you're both on the same page. So devil energy, when we're looking at relationships, can have to do with right person, wrong time, wrong timing. So maybe the person isn't completely, it could be a rebound. Person could be on a rebound. They could also be dealing with their own sense of self, I don't want to use like self-hatred, but they could be working with like not loving themselves as much as they need to be. So as they try to deal with other people, it's just not quite fixed. So be patient. Everything in its divine time. So if you meet someone and they're either on the rebound or they're getting a divorce or they're just saying, I'm not ready, give them time and space. It will happen when it's supposed to happen, and it could take some time. With the Ace of Wands card here in reverse in the outcome, there could also be something where we talked about the sunflower and unrequited love. There could be a situation where you meet someone and it doesn't work as a love relationship, but you're like, we have so much in common. Could we be friends? There's a possibility there. I have friends in my life where that's happened. I've had that happen. And sometimes it's really cool because there's no pressure. You know that there's no chemistry, but you have a lot in common, and then you can just talk about things. So whether it's same or opposite gender, it doesn't matter because you're just going to be able to support one another on your paths. There's something about timing and availability that you want to watch if you're looking for love right now, okay? So that's the message there, but there is love to be found, and it seems to be very water-like here because we keep getting cups coming through. And it feels like someone is maybe even going to come to you and ask you out or talk to you about something. So you'll be able to pick up the signs here, but be discerning and make sure that they're available and make sure that you're ready too. The devil could be you and your own insecurity, all right? So something requires a pause in navigating new relationships. In old relationships, ones where you're already dating, engaged, or you've been together for years, this is also about making sure that you don't take one another for granted. That's the main message that I see with this. You're not trapped together. You chose to be together, and you continue to choose to be together and build upon that. If at any point you feel like it's a burden, then you need to have a deep look inside and a deep conversation with your partner, because then there needs to be some work done if you're going to stay together. It's not a trap. It's a choice. Relationships are a choice. So choose, if you want to heal it, to stay together, or choose to have a conversation and move on. This is that difficult conversation for some of you. One cool thing that could be happening is that there could be one partner that got a lot of sort of success and movement, and a big sort of breakthrough. But for some of us, like if you're married to someone else, it could just sort of be like, but wait, I also have things going on and I'm not sure if I'm ready to move or grow that way. So it's about growth at the same time and supporting one another, especially when one person's here and one person's here. So there's a little bit of balancing that has to happen in existing relationships. If you're single, happy, and completely disinterested in love, no problem. You still are going to have great things coming in. I feel like you could develop new friendships this month. I really feel like you have a chance to make a positive impact. And I want you to just be picky. Be picky about what you sign. Look at stuff. Have a lawyer look at it. Read it a few times and negotiate. You've got the Lord card here on your side, the Emperor card, the Hierophant card even. So you have the ability to navigate hierarchy and you have the ability to make the change that you need, okay? So kind of interesting that it's Lord and Devil. So I had a friend who reads with angel cards and works with angels explicitly, sort of. She just reminded me, she said, the devil's in God's basement. So it's just a lesson for us to come through and to understand. It's in the frequency of the divine, whether or not you believe in that kind of energy. But what I would say, I agree that everything's part of the creative force. So go higher energetically, see whatever this is and move through it. You have Archangel Michael here. This is the one angel that can deal with that. And if it's in your health part, do what's healthier for you. Stand up for yourself, okay? So you're going to be fine. We have the Lord and Archangel Michael here. That devil card doesn't stand a chance. You just have to use your common sense, all right? Looks good to me. One last thing. With the Ace of Wands reversed, physical intimacy may be lacking this month. And so rekindling the flame, figuring out what your partner wants, figuring out if you want it. Like, I feel like you just have to communicate. Libra can do that. But there's something for some of you with physical intimacy that's off. If I see an Ace of Wands or Swords in reverse, there's a little bit of a question mark there, okay? This has more to do with probably someone not wanting the intimacy or not feeling comfortable. So see what's going on in their emotional mind and body and figure out if you can be there for them in a different way. Intimacy doesn't have to just be physical. And I think that's the important thing there. Okay. Just as your own ego self, you're going to grow this month spiritually. So with or without other people, there's a lot of intuitive development and spiritual development coming through. We wouldn't see things like the Wheel of Fortune, the Devil, and the Death card if there wasn't. So big shifts, some uncomfortable changes, but important changes. And I feel like ultimately, nice segue into your Destiny card here. We have the Cosmic Butterfly. So you can see the wings here and you can see the sun behind it. It's reversed, which is telling me that some of you are focused too much on how it feels for you or yourself or what you're gaining or losing, and you're missing the bigger movement. So if this is like a musical piece, it's sort of like not just this little moment here, it's the whole thing and how it makes you feel, like a symphony. So there's something bigger on the horizon, or we wouldn't have seen the Wheel of Fortune, okay? Difficult, perhaps challenging at the moment, but you've worked to create something new. People are very attracted to what you're doing, and it feels like you're going to have an offer, an opportunity. It's just the timing and the nature of it that's a little bit surprising for you, all right? I'm going to clarify the cards that came through because we got the Devil and Death, so I'm definitely going to clarify that in the next section. First, I want to do a quick mini review, so stick around because I often get additional insights here, and then we'll go into the clarifications in the soul path. All right, so first things first. If you just joined, your spirit totem this month was the sunflower. You can watch on replay. I pulled up some cool pictures of this particular flower because it has some really interesting characteristics. One of those is its heliotropism, basically that a young sunflower follows the sun back and forth, and it does that until it's an adult, and then it basically just faces the east. But what I liked was I did a little bit of research on the myth about this, and there was a water nymph that looked at the sun and wanted its attention and basically became so infatuated with it that the nymph stopped sort of eating and drinking, and the gods took pity on her and made her a sunflower so she could always follow the sun, even though the love was unrequited. Let's take this as a warning that we don't want to be, it kind of makes sense now. This is why I do the review. I forgot the unrequited piece. So the devil card can be someone who's unavailable or unable to return the feelings that you have. They might be married. They may not be interested in dating your gender, for instance. You might be interested in someone that's gay or trans or just is not interested in you. And so, you have to kind of honor that. And like I said, you could explore that. There could be something much deeper that you could connect with them on, and it doesn't have to be sexual. Maybe this is just a spiritual connection. Soulmates don't have to be sexual. So make sure that there's reciprocity, and that and if you're not getting what you need, that you don't waste time and energy on something that doesn't make sense, right? Follow your own North Star, and it might be different than what other people expect it to be. And if that's the case, that's okay. Good for you. That's what it should be. Strengthen your solar plexus, work on reclaiming your power in key relationships. Amen to that. It feels like that's also what we were seeing with, I would say it's the first three, even though we've got the root chakra here, I think it's all three. Let your inner light and joy shine through. Your charisma and your charm is what's going to help you with this Wheel of Fortune. Really cool things can happen. You're the one that can maybe even convince someone, if they're trying to sell a house, for instance, that even if there's a higher bidder, you're the right person, because either you or your family are going to take care of that place and honor it. Focus on your joint and bone health. One thing that sunflower oil can help with is that anti-inflammatory property, but there might be some other things that you definitely should talk to your doctor and or herbalist or nutritionist about. When I looked at the flower or even the surface of the sun, there's all these little tiny components that make it up. The reminder here is that we're all part of something bigger. And also we have that divine energy. Don't underestimate your capacity to inspire, to influence, to lead, because you have all that it takes to really push through to the next zone. Self-sufficiency. We didn't get the Nine of Pentacles, but we might as well have, because one of the things that sunflowers can do is basically self-propagate. And so you have what it takes to be sustainable, to move the needle forward with work and energy. So do it if you have to. Entrepreneurial energy. And that's what we got with this kind of Emperor or Hierophant Lord card that came through. Please don't try to do things that you don't know how to do without asking for some help or getting some training. That's the main message here when I saw a washer dryer disaster that you were trying to kind of like hook up on your own. Hire a plumber, hire an electrician, get that taken care of. But in real life, this is really symbolizing that there are things that we can do and things that we can't or shouldn't. And this is about being smart about that. Speak up before things get too out of hand. Everything is better if you kind of handle it on the onset much earlier. If you're working with friends or family, compensate them properly and really define the roles. And if they can't work with that, then find someone else that can. And if you're the one that's not being taken care of here with the Two of Pentacles, then stand up for yourself. Don't mix love and work. It looks like it's going to be messy. Say what you need to say. Also, make sure that you're the one that's signing the letter or the email, because they're going to be able to trace it back to you. And it's going to be a lot stronger if you just say what you need to say. And you're accountable for it as well. ROI, return on investment, make sure that you're getting something back for what you're doing. It's so important. And don't overextend yourself. Either delegate or just say no, focus on what's important. And that's part of the Devil card here. Sometimes it's just about saying that you can do more than you can do. We have the Lord card here, which is going to bring strength, balance, leadership to everything that we see here. Of course, there's divine connotations with this as well, but basically take charge and authority is what the caption says. And we have the Ankh here as well, which is showing that you have the power to do what you want to do. Just do it. For some of you, there is distraction. Can I do it? Will I do it? Am I worth it? And are so focused on maybe even comparing yourself to others that you miss an opportunity here. Don't, because it's a great opportunity. The King of Cups could be new love. It could be you expressing yourself and people loving what you're doing, but basically get in control of your emotions and use them to your benefit. Basically, you're not going to be ruled by them. You're going to rule them and honor them and express them and channel them as well. Seeing any sort of pain or callous as a sign of strength. It made me stronger. I didn't like going through it, but I'm happy that I learned from it. Now I won't do that again. massive changes and shifts with money and career and self-worth. This is a time to grow. We have an angel of transformation holding the wheel of fortune, guiding you on a new path, saying it's okay. Why are you waiting? Is it because of fear? Is it because of anxiety? Is it because of any of the sort of lower frequencies that the devil card might be bringing in? Don't let those lower frequencies hold you back from a really great opportunity that we see here, okay? If you're meeting new people, make sure that they are interested in the same things that you're interested in. Make sure that love is reciprocated. Maybe there's a chance for platonic and sort of friend type love rather than just sexual love. Soulmates can be animals, they can be people, they can be parents, children, and siblings, and oftentimes there's nothing romantic associated with a soulmate. It's just someone with whom you have karmic baggage or blessings. Please balance your life this month. That is part of your sign, and this month you need it. Focus on taking what you need and asking for what you need, pushing back on things that you don't. You have to do it. We have this sort of very divine masculine card saying, speak up, take action, take charge with authority, literally. There's an offering this month. Make sure that it meets your high standards, Libra. If it does, awesome. If it doesn't, you can do more than this. Lead, don't follow. I finally figured out how to summarize it a little bit easier, but also just don't worry about acceptance, because I feel like it's a divine inevitability for the path in which you are headed. So just keep doing what you're doing and things are going to work out. The right people are going to be attracted to you. No more stagnation. Time to move on. Time to pull the trigger with respect to something that you need to start. So if it's a project, if it's saying hello, if it's saying goodbye, if it's saying I love you, whatever it is, that stuff has to happen now. And then once you do that, movement begins to come into your life. We have the Ace of Wands here, but it's reversed. So something that's being offered is being rebuffed initially. I want you to kind of keep evaluating it until it feels right, and then you can move forward. No matter what, there's growth. We saw that actually here with the spiritual growth card too. So let's just make sure you're growing in the right direction. Stand up for yourself. Focus on, as I said, the lower three chakras, not just the first. Definitely joints and muscles as well. So this is your body. You need to put some work and some TLC into your body. Work with medical professionals and physical therapists as needed for that as well. You might have had a close call with the Wheel of Fortune, the Three of Swords, and the Death card. The Devil card is here basically saying, have you learned your lesson? If you have, we see balance and success. If you haven't, he's here to wreak havoc. So let's not play with El Diablo. You've learned your lesson. You're going to successfully get through this. He's just there to question you and to kind of say, like, there's another path. What do you want to do? So you know what you want to do. With wealth, harmony is important. And I feel like there's a discordant energy with some of you right now with either your environment. It could be work. It could also be relationship. And you need to find the balance there in order to be happier, because you can do something else. You don't have to keep doing what you're doing, right? Remembering also that just like relationships, contracts are something that you can always renegotiate or dissolve if need be. So do what you need to do to get there and make sure that you're happy. Spiritual growth. We talked at great length about relationships this month. The karmic energy seems like it's good, but there is a big lesson about availability, power, standing up for yourself. I think as long as you get through that, the end cards, near future and future, are quite good. Two of Pentacles ultimately can just be that you found the balance, and the Ace of Wands can be that you're ready to move forward. You can express yourself. So as long as you feel safe and you can express yourself, I feel like you've already started to learn some of those lessons with respect to your relationships. But relationships also have contractual things with them, whether it's love or you're not looking for love and it's money or promises. Just make sure that you are in agreement with whatever it is that you're doing there. Ultimately, everything's leading you to growth and expansion here with the cosmic butterfly. So I like that. Okay, let's go ahead now and go a little deeper and clarify. I want to look at the Devil card first because, yes, everybody looks at that and thinks, what does that mean? So what I want to look at for the Devil for you, Libra, is what can you do to diffuse, to bring that maybe into the lover energy, to basically really get your power back and make sure that everything is balanced, even, and transparent, because the Devil doesn't like those sorts of things. Ace of Pentacles, fantastic. You know what? You can do this on your own if you want to. Not installing the washer machine that I was talking about, but you can do the next path in your life if there's something really, really big that you want to do. This is about taking control, taking ownership. So for some of you, this could just be taking something back. If you entrusted someone with the stewardship or the oversight and they're just not doing it right, this is absolutely about saying, nah, you know what? I'm going to take this back and I'm going to do it. For some of you, this is about protecting the idea. So if you are developing something new, make sure that you get the copyright, the patent, the legal protection necessary for it. If you're a musician, I was recently reading, I was like, why is Taylor Swift re-releasing all her albums? I guess she doesn't own her masters. And the company that owned her masters sold it to another company. So she's re-recording them. So she has the masters to the new music. She can say no to the way that that's going to be released. And now she can say yes to the new masters. So she had to basically look at a devil-like contract and say, all right, I still own the IP for this intellectual property. I'll just re-record it. And then I'll control both the new and the old assets by saying no to you and yes to that. Sometimes you have to redo it. You might have to work around a contract. She can't get out of the contract. So she's re-recording music. So if you ever wondered why she's re-releasing it, this is why. So that she now owns the rights to like the Romeo and Juliet song or whatever. And now she can license that and make proper money on that. So make sure that you don't make her mistake. Look at the contract and don't sell away something that is going to be like bread and butter. There's an important lesson with contracts. You have something cool on the horizon. Be discerning about that. So it could be the length of a contract. It could be how much you're willing to give or take if something dissolves. Like this could be prenuptial agreements as well, things like that. Just make sure you're looking at the agreements. You have a big say in it. And even if you lost something, you can still fix it. She's fixing it. It's just taking a lot of work, right? So there you go. Ultimately, the good news is you have something to protect. You have something to claim. You can come back again, even if something didn't work out. You just have to kind of like plant that seed again and watch it grow, okay? So the devil here is about protecting something valuable, reclaiming something that was taken, or reimagining something and thinking, all right, that didn't work, I'll just do this. And I'll show you by being more successful. So you can do it, okay? I like that a lot. Let's look at the death card, which kind of came through in two different ways. This is the Wheel of Fortune, because we have the death card holding, or the death angel holding it, and then we have the angel of death here as death. So let's see what the big changes are. You have at least one, if not two, changes on the horizon. Welcome to the new members. Good to see so many people here today as well. I appreciate it. All right, how can we embrace change, transformation? And how can we avoid any sort of stagnation? So we have the Seven of Pentacles reversed, but I quite like the Seven of Pentacles. It's like a light at the end of the tunnel. So at its core, what it shows me is recovery and growth, but it always carries with it a couple of strings. One of the strings attached is, have you learned your lesson? Because if not, this is where you can fall into a habit again. So those of you that might be recovering from debt, this could be about really learning the lesson of living without debt for a little bit and learning how to recalibrate your spending and saving habits. Because ultimately, Seven of Pentacles says you've got it. You just have to really put it into your mind, body, and spirit and figure out like the main way to get out of debt is just not to spend more than you make. Easier said than done, but there are things that you can do to make sure that you have padding, that you're increasing revenue and all of that. That's why we're looking at return on investment. This also has to do with not just money, but what I was talking about in relationships, because a lot of times we give too much and we give too much frequently, and or people expect us to give it all away. And it's sort of like, but I don't have anything left and I can't keep giving you this if that happens. So there's a message here about honoring your sort of limitations and also getting people to realize that this isn't just a big candy jar, and eventually the candy jar is empty anyway. So someone has to refill it. So this is about making sure that you're not giving too much away, that you're not falling into old habits, and that you trust that you can develop and rebuild. The Seven of Pentacles carries a similar message to it as the Nine of Pentacles. With the 9, we're gifted the little snail, which showed us that, hey, it took a while to get here. The Seven of Pentacles is impatient. Usually you see the guy kind of thinking, ugh, why? Here he's kind of resting for a second and looking and thinking, why isn't it happening faster? I need the money tree to give me some more dollars, please. It's taking too long. It takes time. It takes time to get into a situation. It takes time to get out of it. If you're getting out of a divorce, out of a bad job, out of a depression, it takes a while to move through that shift energetically because they're all shifts. So just keep doing the work. You're doing a good job, okay? The devil wants you to give up. I don't. So keep working hard and ignore this little horned guy. All right, let's move on to a wild card. And I just want to kind of focus the wild card on the wands that we have here, the Six of Wands and the Ace of Wands. So how can we kind of get you a little bit further into your path of success, right? So let's see. What can we do, Libra, to go further into success? Love it. Yes. So we have the Star card, my favorite, probably one of my favorites, but I think it's my favorite. I say that because what I like about this is it's really you at your ultimate, most expressive, most integrated state. So you need to be yourself. If there's something going on in your life that does not allow you to shine, to be the sun that I saw earlier, or the star here, then it isn't the right thing. It's a mirage. It's not the oasis you're looking for. So your challenge this month is to trust yourself enough to not have limiting thoughts that somehow get in the way so that you can be this. He doesn't want you to be this, but I do and you do. So this can just be fear, I'm not good enough, self-doubt, I'm not good enough, or a lack of self-worth. A mother or a father saying, if you would only do this, then I would be happy. Why are you doing that? A friend who's not really a friend who says, I don't think you have what it takes. He works through a lot of different voices. So you're going to have to sort of shine really strong and be your North Star, like I said earlier. And you can do this, okay? Stand up, shine brightly, do what you've got to do. And this is the change energy too. And offer what it is that you want to do. A lot of times, I think artists understand this the most. And I know a lot of you as Libra are artists because that's just part of the expressive energy. So the scary thing is, I don't know if I can share this part of me, this project, this idea, this album, whatever, with someone else. But this is saying, yes, you can. As long as it's authentic and you trust it and it's from source, yes, you can. Okay? So be yourself, be authentic. And you got some good stuff ahead of you, because if we just look at the soul path alone, we have something of value, something that others want. Look at this ace. It's not a usual one. Usually the ace is just a hand, like either I'm going to give or something's giving to me and I'm going to receive. This is giving and receiving. This is reciprocity. Good ace. Whoever designed this deck, good job. This is about slow but steady progress without the fear of returning down an old habit or way of doing things. It's recalibration. And then this is the sort of all of the joy and the growth that happens because you went through this, particularly the Seven of Pentacles. All right, some good stuff for you. Breakout. So for those of you that are in business, this is a nice opportunity on the horizon. This is like, I still need to pay some bills and things aren't coming in so much. This is about, okay, I've got what it takes, and now we're actually seeing a big shift, a big movement. So I'm happy. You've got to push through the next few months. I told you this is 6 to 8 weeks. Seven of Pentacles to me would actually be more about July. So if you can push through June and July, August is looking better. And I would say the star energy comes through right around August for you. So you got, 2.5 months of work to do, but then you have something really cool, like at the end of the rainbow, okay? So I'm sure you have questions. Think about what your top question is. If you have more questions, go look at my old videos. You can use that sort of final card for any question that you have, okay? But we're gonna have, in just a moment, I'm gonna do a quick meditation, and then we're gonna pull an extra card. So if you have a question about love, a job, or a relationship, think about it. We're gonna meditate for 2 minutes, and then I'll answer your question. Before we do that, just a quick note. See, we got a lot of new people here. If you're brand new, please subscribe if you haven't already. If you haven't liked the video yet, hit a thumbs up. It helps a lot. I'll quickly hold this up here, and then Maria will put some notes up. But if you want to follow me on social media, it's Nicholas Ashbaugh across most major social media platforms. It's nashbaugh on Twitter. You can click on the link at the top of the page to get all of those. I use stories to remind you of stuff. I post some fun pictures of my dog on Instagram, so you should at least follow me there if you haven't. And let's meditate. And today I want to work on the energy of the sunflower and the star. Or this, like, we'll use the sun and the sunflower and the star, because you're going to basically become the star as the sunflower. And this will take 2 minutes. I know that sometimes people leave, but stick around, because afterwards I'm going to pull a card for you to answer your question. So just enjoy the singing bowl, meditate for a second. Let's integrate the lessons, and let's get El Diablo out of our energy, because I don't want it, you don't want it. So that's going to be my my prayer here. So close your eyes for a second. We're going to call in Archangel Michael to protect and bless this particular reading and this particular meditation. If there is any sort of energy of the devil card in our lives, temptation, uncertainty, or doubt, I ask that Archangel cut that cord and cut that habit and cut that thought process, so that we can be untethered and step into the star energy, which is the divine right, which we see here at the end. Take a nice deep breath, inhale. Stretch up for a second if you would like to. Let go, shake out your hands a little bit, gently move your shoulders and your neck a little bit, and then just come to a sitting position with your eyes closed. And imagine that you're holding a sunflower, maybe a potted sunflower, in your hand. And as you have your eyes closed, but you're in the meditation, I just want you to imagine that you watch the sunflower through a couple of phases of day and night as it starts to move back and forth. And as you start to feel inspired by this sort of sunflower and the movement that it has, and even just the beautiful petals here, your heart center and your solar plexus in particular start to light up. And as you start to shine, something unexpected happens. The sunflower turns around and looks at you, because you are the sun, you are the star, you are that point of light and energy. And as it starts to open up, I want you to look in at all the little tiny flowers inside the center of the sunflower, and imagine that they're reflecting back the light that you are giving it. It's this beautiful sort of symbiotic energy, give and receive. You give to the sunflower, it gives back to you. And let's use this to balance your energy for about 2 minutes here, and then I'll answer the question that you might have for me. In this moment, though, I would like you to kind of impart in this reflective energy that I'm more than enough. I'm ready to receive love and abundance in the highest forms, and I can't wait to see what this star moment's going to be for me. Take a deep breath, sit up tall, look at that sunflower, and really see now that it's almost like a mirror shining all of your light back at you. And give it a sort of prayer of gratitude. Thank you for showing me that I don't need to follow someone else, that actually I'm the leader because you were following me here. And if you want to, you can kind of energetically pull that sunflower energy inside your sort of body here and keep that bright light. Remember, whenever you doubt yourself, that the sunflower will turn around and say, no, you're the leader. I'm following you. You can do this. Okay. So you've got a little friend here, like a little happy angel. You can see it on your shoulder, and it will constantly look at you and remind you of your power. Okay. The sunflower is here to mirror that and show you what you have to offer. Gently open your eyes if you haven't already. And now is the time where we're going to look at a final question. So if you just joined, good timing. We're going to look at anything that I haven't already answered. I don't even want you to type it out. I just want you to think it. So you don't have to close your eyes, but just focus on the question, state it in your head, say it out loud if you want to. And I'm going to pull a card. I'll read it both in the sort of yes-no capacity, and also I'll give some deeper interpretations. If you like that sunflower thing, you can also imagine that the sunflower wraps its petals around you. There's this old video from Madonna where Mark Romanek directed it, and the sunflower kind of does that behind her. So that's something that you could imagine as it kind of closes around you if you need that protective energy. All right, so back to the question. Here we go. Ace of Swords. This is an emphatic yes, almost with no caveats attached to it. So if there's something that you're trying to do, it's a yes. But, we have a common sort of thread here. He's holding an ankh here. This could just as easily be a sword. So I would say yes, but if you're going to do it, you need to do it. You need to speak up. You need to be a part of the action. You need to be a part of the writing of the contract, of the expression of it. It's really positive, I have to say. This is telling me that you have the skill, the power, the capacity, and in this case, the encouragement also to do it and do it on your own and take an active role. You can't sit back on this. So you have to kind of like roll up your sleeves and do some of the work. We have 2 aces for you, which is great. One ace was reversed, but this ace was upright. So don't doubt the idea. Trust what you're thinking, and then actually take some action on that idea. And actually, we got another ace, because then we get the Ace of Pentacles. You got a good month ahead of you, Libra. So you've got the Ace of Wands, the Ace of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords. All that's missing is Cups, but you've got like a page here. So I'm pretty happy with where you're at. The page and the King trumpet anyway. So I feel like you're in a very, very good place. So take action. We're back. It's kind of cyclical, right? The Catalyst card said take charge and take charge with authority. And that's basically what this is saying. But what you're going to do is it's your words, it's your actions, and it's your speech, which is you're perfectly kind of set up for that, Libra. So as long as you're doing all of that, I feel like you're going to be okay. The only time that it would be bad is if you have someone who's trying to put words in your mouth, trying to make a decision for you, trying to take away your power, your autonomy, your independence, or your authority. And that's when you're going to come through and sever that connection like we did at the beginning with Archangel Michael. Okay, so this is reclamation, 3 aces coming through for you. So I'm happy with what I see for you. I hope you are too. There's a couple of, kind of blocks here that you're going to get past, but once you get past it, especially when we look at the soul path, it's great. You got 2 aces. I don't think that's happened before in the soul path. So looking at the energy around the devil, it's that you have to take ownership over this. Looking at the energy of death, it's that it takes time to rebuild. Change takes time. And then when we looked at the wild card for success, it's showing me not to worry about it, just like the 6 of Wands. And then when I answered your sort of private question, it's saying, yes, you can do it. Yes, there's success. Yes, you have to take an active role, basically underlining everything that we said. Plus, there might be some surprises here. Okay. So good question. I didn't illustrate this deck. They're like, why is he holding the blade? Probably because the person didn't think about that. So yes, he should be holding the hilt. Whatever, we'll forgive the artist because it's a beautiful deck. It kind of has like this Art Deco feel to it. Good question. I would say one thing that I could say with that is that you want to be careful of your wording. This is always true for Libra. Like words can be very powerful and no sign knows it better than Libra. So make sure that you elevate communication because words can cut a lot deeper than some other things. So that would be the only warning there. But it's an ace and it's positive, and I really just feel like it's taking charge and taking power. So I wouldn't read too much into that. Okay. So a reminder, again, if you just joined, I'm going to be live this weekend. I have let's see if I can get the link for you as well. But I have a collective reading this Sunday. And if you would like to join it, I would love for you to kind of join in. So here's the link to it. This is a collective reading for everyone mid-month. And I have a few coming up. So the mid-month is Sunday, and I just put the link to that. And then I have a bonus and an end-of-month collective as well. And the next sign that I'm going to be reading for is Scorpio, and that'll be on Monday. And all of your May readings are currently on my YouTube channel, my website, and I'm doing all the June ones. And like I said, I like to give you a little bit of time to look at all of that. We got a lot of people here, and if you'd like to hit like before we sign off, that would be great. It helps with engagement. If you watch it on replay, like and also comment below. I put my social media links before, so you can click on that pinned comment at the top, and you can follow me at Nicholas Ashbaugh across social media, or Ashbaugh on Twitter. Just a quick note, I'm never going to send an invite or ask for money or kind of like do anything in the messages. Like, there's a lot of imposters out there. This is where we connect. That stuff is just nonsense. If you're watching on replay, you can click the applaud button as well. Thanks to everybody that joined. I saw we have some new members, and we've actually had a lot of new members over the past month or so. For the bonus reading, and maybe even for some of the collectives, I'll ask you for some input. So I'll be posting something over the next few days on that. Also, finally, if you like science fiction and fantasy, like Lord of the Rings or Dune, you can check out my book. You can see a copy of it behind me. I also have a copy here. It's available in paperback, hardcover, and ebook format. And you can go to my website to find out where it is. All right. Thanks, everybody, for a really beautiful session today. So many aces. And yeah, there's always, isn't it interesting how the universe kind of puts a little block in there to make sure that we're ready? So you want to just state that, yeah, I'm ready. And yes, I can handle this. And yes, I'm going to take the control of this steering column here and make it happen. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Join me again, like I said, on Sunday at 9 a.m. for a collective, a mid-month collective. Everyone's welcome. Topic will be announced. I usually will update it tomorrow, sometimes in the afternoon, and I'll think about what I want to talk about. They're always special. You can look at my old one in the meantime. The last one that I just did, it's on the main channel page if you want to see what it's about. All right. Take care, everyone. Thanks again to Maria for helping moderate and everyone for showing up. It was a beautiful reading today. Wish you all the best. See you soon. Bye-bye.